Aloha Sagittarius Ohana. My name is Alicia Marie, also known as the Magic Siren, and this is your June 2025 Tarotscope forecast. Today I will be using the Modern Witch deck, the Rider-Waite Centennial deck, the Wild Unknown Pocket deck, and both the Life Purpose and Romance Angel decks. If you're feeling called to any of the decks that I'm using, you can find all of them in my Amazon storefront, which is linked down below. Quick announcement, I do have a brand new promo code for the month of June. Use SUMMER15 with no spaces at checkout on themagicsiren.com to receive 15% off all personal readings, both emailed and live sessions. A massive thank you to our Patreon Ohana. Your support means so much to me. I post there almost daily, and if you would like to join our magical community, you can find that link down below as well. And of course, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on so you never miss a reading or magical update. Now let's go ahead and dive into the cards and see what June has in store for you. Okay, Sagittarius, let's dive right in to your June 2025 Tarotscope forecast. What's coming in for the month of June? We're asking Universe, Spirit, and Tarot to bring forth these messages, insight, and guidance. We're going to go ahead and do a 4-card spread just to get a nice overview of what's kind of coming in for the month of June. And we will be clarifying all of our cards with 2 more tarot decks and some oracles. So get comfortable and relax and enjoy these messages from Universe and Spirit. Let's go ahead and get one more card here. We're asking Tarot for one more card. All right, we have our card. Let's go ahead and see what we have on the table here so far. So we have the 10 of Cups coming out in reverse, Justice in reverse, 9 of Pentacles, and the 2 of Swords. Lots of good energies coming out here. Let's go ahead and start at the top with the 10 of Cups. Now, this 10 of Cups is coming out in the reversal position. When we see these reversal positions, it can really represent something that could have already happened, or there might be a slight challenge or obstacle that is preventing this energy from showing out in the upright. The nice thing about this 10 of Cups showing in general means that there are opportunities this month to find full emotional fulfillment and happiness. There might be a little bit of a challenge to get there, but it is on the horizon. The 10 of Cups is all about that absolute happiness, fulfillment, really having those moments with friends, with family, just feeling absolutely fulfilled on an emotional level. So this is definitely something that is going to be available to you, Sagittarius, in this month of June. However, there are some slight obstacles or challenges that might prevent us from getting there right away. And we'll find out what that is as we clarify throughout the reading. We are seeing that Justice is in reversal. So some of the challenge or obstacle that you might end up facing throughout the month of June is finding the need for balance. When we see the Justice card in the upright, it can really represent being in a place of balance. But Justice also represents the law and order of things, okay? So when we talk about the law and order of the spiritual realm, we're talking about the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction can definitely be used to your best benefit this month of June if you allow yourself to tap into it. If you are not familiar with the law of attraction, that might be a reason why we're seeing this Justice card in reversal. Maybe we're not using that energy or that benefit in our life, and I would take some time and do a little bit of research on the law of attraction. This also can represent the energies of legal situations when we're talking more on this earthly material realm. So for those of you that are dealing with any sort of legal situations, maybe you are in the middle of a lawsuit, in the middle of some sort of case, maybe you're waiting for a settlement or something like this. This being in reversal tells me that we might not reach that settlement. We might not reach the end of that this month. Or if you are due for something to end this month on a legal aspect, it might not necessarily go the way that you thought it would. We'll clarify and see what's going on with that a little bit deeper as well. Now, we do have the 9 of Pentacles, and this is actually one of my favorite cards in the tarot deck because it really represents our garden of life. You can see that this figure is standing here in the middle of this garden, and this garden does represent her garden of life. All of the seeds and pentacles that they've planted over this sort of chapter in their life have really grown out, and they've grown to give pentacles in return. Now we see that there's really no space to plant anything new. So when I see this Nine of Pentacles coming out in a reading, I always say that maybe it's a good time to take a step back and evaluate your garden of life. What is thriving and what isn't? What can we maybe weed out of that garden to make space for something new? The Nine of Pentacles also is a reminder to remember your worth. So as we move through some of the challenges and obstacles that we might face through the month of June, it'll be really important to make sure that we're also staying in alignment with our worth, the things that we know we desire and what we deserve, and really using that in addition to that law of attraction or law of assumption energy. The Two of Swords is kind of coming in here towards the end of the month, and there might be a crossroads or a decision here that is going to have to be made. The Two of Swords represents being at the end of the line, being at the end of something. And there's this need for us to drop our swords of defense, really take this blindfold off and see that there's a whole new unexplored island behind us. It's ultimately going to be up to us to walk across this water during its low tide to get to this new place. The Two of Swords coming out here after this Nine of Pentacles tells me that during this previous sort of chapter or this previous sort of time in your life, there has been this shift and this change. We've seen that there's a little bit of obstacle or challenge that is preventing us from finding full emotional happiness and stability. This could be in turn to actual legal situations in this physical realm or a lack of imbalance, especially when it comes to manifesting or trying to create the life that we desire. There's a need for us to take a look at our garden of life and see, is there even space here for me to cultivate the absolute fulfillment I'm looking for? Is there space in this garden for me to plant new seeds of manifestations, my law of attraction energy? More than likely, there are some things that we're going to have to weed out of our life during the month of June, which is ultimately going to be that Two of Swords energy, having to make a decision, having to make a choice, and that choice ultimately being going in a new direction by weeding some of these things out and allowing ourselves to overcome the obstacles that are preventing these two energies from showing in the upright. Let's go ahead and clarify with a tarot deck here, looking for some extra messages. I kind of want to get deeper and understand what some of those challenges or obstacles might be. We have the Seven of Wands coming out here. There's definitely this defensive energy. This card has come out a lot among many of the zodiacs for June. I do feel like a lot of us have this sort of energy of defending our belief system, defending our decisions, our choices, how we feel about things, or maybe even defending the people that we care about. We're going to go ahead and continue to clarify, but that card coming out on top of that Ten of Cups tells me in order for us to find that emotional fulfillment that we're looking for, especially in the month of June, we're going to have to try our best to not go too far into the defensive mode. Maybe finding a nice balance there. You know, finding balance as a whole might be a pretty big theme or message to take away from the forecast for the month of June. Now, we do have the Knight of Swords in reversal, and we have the Wheel of Fortune on top of that Nine of Pentacles. Absolutely beautiful energy there. You know, if you allow yourself to evaluate your garden of life, remember your worth, and remove the things that are no longer serving you, you start to find that your luck overall is changing for the better. You're starting to gain more fortunes, and you're starting to see that your life is really on an upswing. So I like seeing that Wheel of Fortune come out. Then we also have the Page of Wands. So let's go ahead and talk about these. We will clarify again with another tarot deck in just a few minutes. You know, I like to get all the messages as possible for these monthlies, but let's go ahead and kind of digest these first set of clarifying cards. So we do have that Seven of Wands. We talked a little bit about the Seven of Wands already, but this is really that energy of feeling defense, having to defend ourselves, defending our actions, defending our family maybe, but this could also feel like arguments and tensions. In order for us to be able to find this absolute happiness and fulfillment that we're all really looking for this in our lifetime here, but you know, this month of June, if you would like to be able to find that absolute happiness, those moments of of fulfillment, there's going to be a need for us to find balance between defense and tensions and arguments versus allowing ourselves to have this sort of moment of agree to disagree. Sometimes it's hard to agree to disagree because we do have these sort of moral beliefs. We do have these sort of moral and ethical codes. And so if there's something or someone here that is very much far from your ethical code or your moral code, sometimes we can't overlook the way that they approach life or how they see things or how they might judge you or the people around you. But there is going to be this need for you to find that balance for yourself. Allow yourself to get into a place of understanding that anything that throws you off balance is taking your peace. Protect your peace at all costs during the month of June and allow yourself to find the balance between fighting and defense and flowing and positive forward momentum. Now, we do have the Knight of Swords in reversal. The Knight of Swords in the upright represents moving forward with this sort of fast action. The Knight of Swords uses his sword to cut away any obstacle or challenge, and the sword is the logics, the analytics. So really, in order to be able to find that sort of balance, in order to be able to use the law of attraction, in order for us to be able to get into a place where the legal situations are going more in our favor, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to use your logics. Don't be afraid to use the analytics, right? That's going to be your sword. That's going to be your weapon of choice here. The Knight of Swords moves very quickly. And so seeing this in the reversal tells me that maybe we are a little bit nervous to share our opinion. Maybe we're a little bit nervous to speak our truth. Maybe we're nervous to unveil our plans, whatever this is. When it comes to logics and analytics, don't be afraid to use that moving forward. Now, this is where your month starts to get very, very nice, very sweet, very flowy, getting on an upswing in life, okay? This is going towards the second half of June. The Wheel of Fortune is kind of like the wheel of life. It's constantly in motion. It's constantly turning. And right now you're on an upswing, which is absolutely fantastic. Take advantage of this upswing, ride out this wave, and remember your worth while you do so. Remember, we said weeding out the garden that things are no longer serving you. So in this case, it's like, do we have relationships in our life that are just draining us? If they are, let's go ahead and weed those out. Are we having projects that are just not going anywhere and we've been working way too hard, putting too much of our time and energy into? If so, let's take those out. Are we still in a job that is no longer recognizing us or giving us the right pay or giving that equal balance of give and take? If that's the case, let's weed it out. You're on an upswing right now, which means that you're going to end up having luck on your side. So if you are staying in alignment with what your true worth is, you start to find the balance and use the law of attraction to your benefit. You find that balance between defense and flow. You're going to start to find emotional fulfillment really trickling in come the second half of June. And you're also going to be finding yourself in a place where you're not allowing anything to really knock you off balance. You're not allowing anything to get the best of you. We also have the Page of Wands. Now, this Page of Wands, I love this card because it is that card of excitement. By the end of June, you're going to be in a place where you are starting to get excited for what's to come. We talked about how the Two of Swords is going to be that decision of having to make the choice to remove some of those things like we were just talking about. And as you remove them, it's almost immediate. That sort of Wands fiery passion that comes in. It's almost immediate where you start to feel the excitement for the next chapter. You start to feel the motivation to start moving forward, to plant new seeds. You start to feel the confidence that comes with removing things that are no longer serving you. This Page of Wands is telling you to lean into that excitement. If you're having a hard time making that choice and you're at that crossroads and you're just having a hard time fully dropping those swords and being able to move forward, find and tap into the inner excitement, the inner passion, allowing ourselves to start almost daydreaming about what's to come once you make the space and remove the obstacles. This is turning into a really nice month for you, Sagittarius. I do want to go ahead and clarify with one more tarot deck just to kind of get some final extra messages here. We will do some oracles in just a few minutes, so we'll get, those final messages from Spirit. But we have the Nine of Wands in reversal. Oh my gosh, yes. It's like letting our wall down a little bit. I feel like that is doubling down on what we were saying with that Seven of Wands. There has to be the balance of agree to disagree almost, especially when it comes to relationships of people that you're going to keep in your life. I think that's really important for someone to hear. If that's you, let me know in the comments. But, that Nine of Wands being in reversal tells me it's like, let's let our guard down just a little bit. We don't have to discuss a point all the way until there's somebody who's right or wrong. Everybody can have their own opinion. And if someone's opinion goes against you or goes against your view of human rights, then of course, take that space, make that space, walk away from it, go into that Nine of Pentacles and weed out that relationship. But if this is something that is very surface level, everyone can have their own opinion, including you as well as them. We have the Father of Wands, which is the King of Wands in this deck. That's your elemental king. I really like that energy is coming out for you. If anything, though, there's almost this feeling with that card of allowing yourself to tap into the master of the element, the master of the wand suit. So, all the king cards in the tarot deck are the masters of their suit. This is the master of the wand suit, the fire element. And the fire element is what we were talking about with that Page of Wands. It's excitement, passion, determination, forward movement, allowing ourselves to be motivated and have action-based movement. So I almost kind of feel like if you're feeling imbalanced, if we're longing for emotional fulfillment in the first half of the month, let's gear up, tap into that Father or King of Wands energy, make some forward-based movements, get excited, get passionate, and start making something happen. Allow yourself to release those things. If you go out into your garden of life and you're weeding things out, that's making something happen. You're being proactive to the situation and you start to find your wheel of fortune again. We have the Star card in reversal and then we have the Six of Wands coming out in the upright there, which is fantastic. So I already talked about these two cards here. I'm not going to continue to go over them, but going into this Star card, it's like we go into those action-based movements. We're allowing ourselves to put our wall down here just a little bit, finding more of a balance, and it's also helping us recharge our batteries at night. But then we have that Star in reversal. Now the Star card to me is very much the main character energy, right? Unfortunately, for some of you, you've been in co-pilot. And that happens. We're living our life. We have all these external sort of responsibilities and we have our job and our families and our house and all these things that we have to take care of that sometimes we have to turn on autopilot. Sometimes we just have to continue down that forward pathway. But there is this sort of need for us to jump back in the driver's seat. Allow yourself to start making those decisions again. This is your life and you get to write the story of it. You get to decide who you're going to take with you. You get to decide where you're going to go. You get to decide what is going to be in that garden of life, right? And I hope that you're getting my whole garden of life sort of analogy here. But seeing the Star in reversal tells me that we're still trying our best to tap into that. Try your best this month of June to get back in the driver's seat. Turn off autopilot, get back in the seat, and start making the direction. Start making the life, your life, what you want it to be, and do it confidently. I think once you finally step into that energy, the confidence starts flooding back in. This is a Six of Wands. Six of Wands is like we are moving forward with our head held high, shoulders back, very confident, and it makes sense. It's like I think it's going to take the first 2 weeks of June. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for you, but as you go into that third and fourth week, the second half of the month, depending on how quickly you tap into this and start weeding some things out, you start to feel that wheel shifting in your favor. You slowly start to use the momentum of that wheel to tap into your star energy, your main character. You get back into the driver's seat, make that decision. You get excited for what's to come, and now the confidence just comes naturally after. I really like this reading for you. I want to go ahead and pull out some love oracles here. It's not necessarily romantic love. It can be, but this is just emotional fulfillment that's coming in for you for the month of June. And we did have that 10 of Cups showing out in the beginning of the reading. So I am kind of curious to see what is in store when it comes to emotional fulfillment for the month of June. So I'm going to ask Spirit and Tarot to bring forth, there it is. We have finances and career. Financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. This is my card of shifting your focus into you, what it is that you need in your life, what are your projects, what are the things that you are working on. And again, that's going to make a lot of sense with that Nine of Pentacles. I feel like there's a big message here for you, Sagittarius. Anything that is no longer giving you a steady return, weed it out of your life. Weed it out of your garden. Let's go ahead and shift our focus back into our worth. what makes us excited, what makes us passionate, and then starting to allow ourselves to use that as motivation moving forward while we're weeding out and making space. Because I'm telling you, that Wheel of Fortune being there for you on top of that Nine of Pentacles, you're in for some really amazing days in June if you allow yourself to do so. Look at that strength. Everything you've experienced in your life has made you strong and courageous. These are any extra messages from Spirit that you need to know for June. That strength is telling you to have the strength to be able to move forward and make that choice. This is actually such an empowering reading for the month of June. So I hope that you were able to enjoy this reading, or maybe even find some clarity or guidance with it. If you would like a personal reading with me, you can go over to themagicsiren.com and get a personal reading over there. I do have a Patreon where I post regularly, so maybe I'll see you over there as well. And I post over here on YouTube quite frequently, so make sure that you are subscribed with your notifications on. Also, stay safe so I can see you in the next one. All right, aloha.